Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be a birth chart reading on Summer Walker. She released her album, I believe, last week, but she's currently trending because she is a side piece to a rapper. She told the man to get a burner phone, save her number under Pizza Hut. She don't care that she's a side piece. So it made me want to look at Summer Walker's chart to see like what it says relating to love and relationships, but also I am looking at just some general things in her chart as well. So let's get into it. Now, before I break down her chart, if you want your own birth chart reading, if you have any questions about astrology in your chart, moonworldmommy.com to book. I'm going to put the link in the description box. I can do a birth chart reading for you, answering about pretty much any question that you have about yourself and your life. I can use astrology to give you some solid answers. Also, make sure that you're tapping into my Patreon. If you subscribe to my Patreon for $15 a month, you get to ask me one question that can be used as a birth chart reading. So it's a quick way, a more efficient way. I'm not going to say more efficient, but you know, if you can't afford a whole $150 birth chart reading and you have just one question, subscribe to my Patreon. And shit, I mean, if you say subscribe to my Patreon long enough, you can get all your questions answered. If you're there for a while, if you like it over there, you want to stay. And yeah, just make sure that you're connecting with me on other platforms. Moon World Mommy on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, Threads. I'm everywhere. What gorillas say, like the air, I'm everywhere. Now, usually I have this little screenshot of me in the corner so you can see me while I'm reading the chart, but I need a new laptop. The thing that I use to record the videos doesn't work all the time, so I'm just going to minimize this while I'm showing the chart, and I'll put me back up. You can see me if you need to see me. So all right, y'all, this is Summer's birth chart. Summer Walker was born on April 11th, 1996 at 11:30 p.m. in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, Summer Walker, I identify with a lot of her energy. I also have an Aries sun, Mars, and Saturn, and I also am an Aquarius moon. Now, I don't identify with being a bird. I ain't no bird, but I'll be feeling Summer Walker. Now, I like her music, but I didn't listen to this new album. I don't know that I will, but yeah, I do like Summer Walker, and I can identify with some of her energy. I feel like she's misunderstood, but I also kind of feel like she don't do a good job of trying to make herself understood either. So there's that. Now, first thing that stood out to me when looking at Summer's chart is that she is a Sag rising. And something that I have noticed is that Sagittarius risings really do what they want, and they do not care what other people think about them. Miley Cyrus, Jada Pinkett Smith, Kim Kardashian, Bob Marley, L. Ron Hubbard, Malcolm X, Erykah Badu, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are other people, famous people that don't really give a fuck, that are known for that, and they are also Sag risings. And even just thinking about the fact that she has Sagittarius, Aquarius, and Aries in her big three, like that really shows that she does what she wants, period. Because that Aries stellium, Aries is the sign of self. Aries energy is all about me, 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 me. I'm gonna do what I want, how I want to do it, and I don't really care what the consequences are. I don't really care what somebody else thinks about me doing what I want to do. Like that energy is very, very strong. It's very, very strong. And I like to call Sag the wild and free sign, because being ruled by Jupiter, like that Jupiter energy is just, there are no bounds. Like Sagittarius is a sign that's associated with exploration and being free and being open and being adventurous and seeking truth. So Sag risings, yeah, they do what they want. And Aquarius energy is like, I don't care. I do what I want. So it's just very fitting. Now, let's talk about her chart ruler. Jupiter in Capricorn is her chart ruler. Now, Jupiter is falling in Capricorn. So this says a lot of things. One, when I see somebody have their chart ruler uncomfortably placed, that can show that there are a lot of challenges and struggles that a person might have to deal with in their life, because the first house is the house of self. So if you have the strongest signifier of you in your chart and that planet's uncomfortable, that can bring a challenging energy. Even when you think about her music, she's very vocal about her insecurities, her self-worth issues. But even, I mean, if you just look at her and look at her body, look at her face, look at the plastic surgery, and I'm not saying that to knock her. Summer Walker is a very beautiful woman, but look at her, like she's shaped crazy. She is a very prime example of how plastic surgery and insecurities and excess and all of those things can definitely go too far. And when somebody has their chart ruler fallen, something that I've noticed a lot is that these people are often insecure. These people often have a lot of self-worth issues. And her Jupiter is in a square with Mars, which can really speak to the severity of this. Also, when you factor in the fact that Mars is the planet that rules her 5th house, which is a house that represents sex, love, dating, and your love life as a whole, you can even see maybe some of her insecurities or some of her self-worth issues stemming from her romantic relationships or how she engages and deals with men, period. And another point that can speak to that is that the ascendant, which literally is the angle that represents you, Venus, which is the planet of love and relationships, is in an opposition, and Mercury, which is the planet that rules the 7th house, is in an in conjunction, which shows that she might put other people before her and her needs, and she might not necessarily have the best engagements with people or with her relationships. Also, with her chart ruler in the 2nd house, I could see a lot of her value or her self-worth being placed into her money and what she has or what somebody can even do for her. Now, I'm not saying this because the 2nd house is self-worth. Modern astrology will tell you that the 2nd house is self-worth and how you feel about yourself, but that really honestly makes no sense. The 2nd house is the house that represents your money. It represents your income, your resources, the way that you can provide and take care of yourself. And this can represent monetary things, but the 2nd house is also sustenance. The 2nd house is also your needs, safety, security, food, nourishment, how you literally provide for yourself on all means. So yeah, I know why they put self-worth in the 2nd house, but that's really a 1st house thing, because the 1st house is the house that's all about you, yourself, your life, your personality, so on and so forth. So yeah, chart ruler in the 2nd house can definitely tie a lot of their identity into their money and what they have. Jupiter, her chart ruler, is also in a square with the nodes, which shows that she has a lot of work to do personally with herself in order to become her best self. Because the nodes in astrology represent change. They're where the eclipses were happening in your chart when you were born. And you can think of the nodes as your own little personal eclipses. And having this in a square, which is a challenging aspect, the north node is increased, the south node is decreased. Overall, that axis represents balance. It represents work. And with this in a square with her chart ruler, again, this shows that there's a lot of work that she might have to do for herself. Now, Summer's chart shows that she does not necessarily make the best decisions for herself. She has mutual reception between Mercury and Venus. So Mercury reception. Mutable reception is when you have the planet that rules one sign in the house that the other planet rules, and vice versa. And it ties in the themes of those planets and also those houses together. So Venus rules the 9th house. I mean, not 9th house. I don't know why I said 9th house. Venus is the ruler of Taurus. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. She has her Venus in Gemini and her Mercury in Taurus. So these planets have mutual reception. So it ties in the themes of relationships with work and duty. And it's very interesting because mutual reception between Venus and Mercury can cloud someone's judgment, because this can make somebody really think or make a lot of decisions in life related to love or joy or pleasure or what you want or what you care about, because these are all things that are associated with Venus. And even thinking about Saturn, the ruler of her 5th house, the ruler of her 3rd house. The 3rd house is the house that represents like the way that you think and process things. Having her ruler of the 3rd house in the 5th house can speak to her, again, her going for or what she likes versus what she really makes sense for her or what is logical, like especially when it comes to love and dating. And yeah, I can see her thinking a lot about her partners or thinking about love and not being logical overall. And I think this aspect is so fitting, this mutual reception, even when you consider the fact that, she's dated people that she's worked with. Very strong signifier of, mutual reception between the 7th house and the 6th house. She was in a relationship with London on the Track, the producer, father of her children. No, is he the father of 3 of her? I think he's just Bubbles' dad. I don't know that I think he's the dad, because ain't Larry, I don't know. I just know she has 3 kids. She got twins, and I know at least that first one is by London on the track. And yeah, even thinking about, like, I just, her chart shows so clearly in multiple ways that she thinks about what she likes, what feels good versus what makes sense. Like, she really don't have no sense. I think these were a lot of similar things that I talked about in the Brene video, and her and Brene act very similar. So there's that. Y'all should go watch the Brene videos. They're on my page. And there's also, she has a square between Mercury and the moon. So Mercury and the moon are the 2 planets that represent the mind. They represent decision making, how you process, how you learn, how you understand things. So to have the 2 planets that represent the mind and disconnect with each other, again, can really kind of just show poor decision making. And her Mercury, which again is the ruler of the 7th house, in conjunction with the ascendant, can speak to poor decisions being made pertaining to relationships, but also that there, being that Mercury is the 7th house ruler, there's a disconnection between the relationships that she has and herself. I think it's so fitting that we find out that crazy information about her love life, like the stuff with Rich the Kid, during a Mercury retrograde, because Mercury is the planet that rules the 7th house. And even also, like, so I always tell people, wherever you have Mercury in your chart, wherever Mercury rules, during Mercury retrogrades, that energy of that house specifically can be chaotic. So yeah, just thinking about the fact that the planet that rules her 7th house of love flips and turns and does the most every couple of months, 3 to 4 times a year, that really does speak to the chaos in her love life. Like Sag risings, a lot of Sag risings I've noticed, even when you think about the people that I've mentioned earlier that are also Sag risings, Miley Cyrus, Jada Pinkett Smith, Kim Kardashian, Bob Marley, Erykah Badu, like all of them have had crazy ass love lives. And it makes sense with that mercurial energy on the 7th house. Now, I'm not here to say that all Sag risings are going to have crazy or chaotic love lives, but if you tell me that you're a Sag rising and shit be going on in your love life, wouldn't necessarily surprise me. Now, Summer Walker's chart shows that she is a lover girl. Bad as fuck. Venus, again, is in her 7th house. Venus is the planet that represents love and relationships and all of the things. And having that in the house of relationships as a whole can really speak to that. Now, Venus is in a trine with Chiron, which is the wounded healer. Chiron is associated with insecurities, fears, wounds, trauma, things that have to be worked through and processed. And this in a trine with Venus can show that there's a lot of work, there's a lot of healing and growth that she has to do love-wise. I think she can do it, though. This is the trine. Like, I do kind of think Summer Walker will eventually get her happy ending. But her chart does show that she likes and enjoys mess, and she's attracted to toxicity. Venus is opposing Pluto, and it's in a trine with Uranus, which can really speak to, again, her having a very chaotic love life. Now, Venus is in a trine with the moon. And, oh wait, no, let me backtrack. Venus is also in a trine with that moon-Uranus conjunction. I also have a moon-Uranus conjunction, and I be all over the place. So I feel her. That's why I said, like, I identify with a lot of Summer Walker's chart. Not gonna hold you. But she has Venus in a trine with the Uranus, which can show that Uranus is the planet that represents freedom. It represents liberation. It represents independence. It represents stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing things differently. And the trine is the most positive aspect. So I think that, you know, she would have more success love-wise if she dated somebody outside of her type, or what's comfortable, or what feels safe. Because if you're used to negativity and toxicity, it doesn't matter that it's bad. It doesn't matter that it's not fitting or productive for you. If you're used to it, you will thrive. Not necessarily thrive, but you'll be cool in that environment if that's all you know. She has Venus in her trine with the moon, which can show that she's soft, she's sensitive, emotional, probably very good at taking care of and understanding the needs of others, especially her partners. This Venus trine moon can show that she's charming, she's friendly, she is overall has a very good personality, and I think Summer Walker is definitely a person that's likable. Like, when I see little clips of her talking and all of the things, like, I'm like, oh, I do like Summer Walker. Like, she has good energy, but again, the bitch is a bird, so I don't know about that. But again, this Venus in the trine with the moon can show that she's somebody who tends to stick to what's familiar in love. And also thinking about the moon. The moon is a planet that represents instability because the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. The moon does not have stable nature. So even thinking about the fact that her Venus is in a trine with a Moon Uranus conjunction that can definitely speak to her having an unstable love life. And the girl has a damn Gemini Venus, so there's that. Now, also, something else that points to Summer Walker being a lover girl is that Summer Walker has a 5th house stellium. Like I already talked about, the 5th house is the house that represents love, sex, and relationships. Now, she has both malefics in the 5th house. So the malefics are Mars and Saturn. These are 2 challenging planets. So the fact that she has both of the most challenging planets that one could have in the house that represents love and relationships definitely indicates that there's a lot of work and things that she has to do relationship wise, especially factoring in that Saturn is here and she has a night chart, so that makes Saturn her most challenging planet. And also her Saturn is at 0 degrees of Aries. Summer is in the midst of her Saturn return. She's about to turn 30. So I wonder what kind of lessons and growth and things we're going to see with Summer and her relationships through the next couple of years. And she's in the midst of her Saturn return now. Like, I just wonder what she's dealing with or what lessons she has to work through, or I don't know. Hopefully by the end of this Saturn return, we'll see some more things, more positive things for Summer in love. Yeah, I don't know. Her having the sun in the 5th house is also very ironic when you think about the fact how she's a singer known for making music about her love life. And the sun is also in a sign-based sextile with Venus. So that can show that there's a lot of her identity that she ties into her love life and vice versa. The South Node is in the 5th house. So like I already mentioned, the nodes, wherever you have the nodes in your chart, it represents, that axis represents change, but it also represents balance and work that needs to be done. And having the South Node in the 5th house can show that once she starts to focus on herself or other things and spends less time focusing on love and really taps into herself and what she really wants, which is the North Node in the 11th house, because the 11th house is the house of your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. That's the house of success, all the things. She can flourish. The 5th house stellium also, outside of love, really speaks to her creativity and her artistry. She's a beautiful girl, great music. She makes good songs. Like, her music does not suck. Out of all the R&B girlies, like, Summer Walker's music is good. I can't speak to this album. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on the album. I haven't listened to the album, but I do really enjoy Summer Walker's music, and she is one of my favorite R&B girlies. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Even thinking about her having 3 children, having 3 kids before 30 is definitely a choice. And if you do that, you obviously like being a mother. And we don't really hear bad things about Summer Walker being a bad mother. Like, outside of, I remember when Bubbles, her first baby, was born, like, wasn't she feeding the baby like honey and crazy ass shit? But outside of that, like, we don't see or hear of Summer being a bad mother. So yeah, I think that she probably really does put a lot of her identity outside of her music or her creativity, but she really likes to be and identifies with being a mother. I think that that is something that makes a lot of sense for her in her chart. Now, last thing, I see a lot of people talking about Summer Walker's spirituality. There's a lot of discourse related to that, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, if she's so spiritual, because we know that Summer Walker has been open about her spiritual things. Like, we've seen her wearing white. I think she's spoken about her initiations or things of that nature. But Summer Walker has a lot of placements in her chart that relate to spirituality. Like, the 4th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house are houses that can be associated with spiritual things. All of those rulers are connected to the nodes. I didn't mean to say the 8th house. I meant to say the 9th house. The 4th house, the 9th house, and the 12th house. The 9th house is the house of spirituality and divination as a whole, but the 3rd house is like witchcraft, magic, divination on a different scale. And the 12th house is the house that's associated with your intuition, your inner world, your subconscious mind, which goes hand in hand with spirituality. And yeah, all of these are connected to the nodes, which shows to me that I do think Summer is a spiritual person. But when you even look at Jupiter, which is the planet that represents spirituality as a whole, her Jupiter is fallen, so I think she does have a lot of work to do before she can really tap into her true spirituality or spiritual energy. Jupiter is also in a square with Mars, which can show that maybe her actions get into the way of her true spiritual power or even her abundance or her personal growth. And just in general, like Jupiter square Mars. Mars is action and energy. Jupiter is abundance. Like when I see people who have Jupiter and Mars in harsh aspects, they so clearly lack self-control. Like these people are wild. They do what they want. They don't care. They lack boundaries. They lack discipline. They lack self-control. Like it's not pretty. And yeah, Jupiter's in a square with the nodes really speaks to she has a lot of work to do, period. And the sun is the ruler of the 9th house. So I can see her identifying with a lot of things spiritually. And she does have the lot of fortune, which is fate, in the 3rd house, which is also another spiritual house. So I definitely think that that energy is there. But how she fosters it or really deals with it, questionable. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about this. It's Summer Walker's chart very clearly shows that she has a lot of personal work to do. But I don't think she's doomed. Having a Saturnian, having your worst planet rule your chart ruler, like that can really just give somebody a lot of disadvantages in her life. And I think that speaks to a lot of things in her chart. That on top of all of the energy in the 5th and 7th houses, which again are the love and romance houses. So yeah, let me know what y'all think about this breakdown. Let me know who else y'all want me to do a deep dive on. What other videos you want to see from me, period, on my YouTube. And yeah, I love you down. Thanks for watching. Go book a reading, and I'll see you in the next one.